Here's the breaking news right now from KPTV. Federal agents shoot two people in Portland. They say two people were shot by federal agents in Southeast Portland on Thursday afternoon, according to police. At 2:18 p.m., Portland police officers responded to the 10200 block of Southeast Main Street on a report of a shooting. Officers confirmed that federal agents had been involved in a shooting, PPP said. The FBI office in Portland confirmed the two agents involved in the shooting were working for Border Patrol on X and Twitter. But a short time later, they deleted that statement. There's no word on the condition of the people who were shot. Quote, "We are still in the early stages of this incident," said Chief Bob Day. "We understand the heightened emotion and tension many are feeling in the wake of the shooting in Minneapolis, but I am asking the community to remain calm as we work to learn more." PPB officers have secured both scenes pending an investigation. East Burnside Street is closed, blah, blah, blah. This remains an active and ongoing investigation. Now, we have this post from Andy No. He says, two people have just been shot by Border Patrol during an immigration operation in Portland, Oregon. Anti-ICE accounts have circulated screenshots alleging that a 911 dispatcher leaked to them information about a call for police assistance. Now, it does appear that we have a 911 dispatcher screen leak, which reads 33-year-old male conscious breathing problem. Spanish speaker said he ran from ICE and was shot twice. Wife was shot once as well. Just pulled over here. Info slow. It's followed up by saying, my caller is Border Patrol. Said they shot at a subject that almost ran them over. Unknown if it hit other subject since they drove off in a red Toyota Tacoma. So it appears that we've got two conflicting stories. And I got to be honest, I don't believe that CBP just started randomly shooting or that they shot at people fleeing. It looks like the 911 dispatch report also says they almost ran them over, which, based on what we saw yesterday, lines up. Now, the scariest thing about everything we're seeing with the breaking news, the dramatic escalation we are seeing right now, holy crap. And of course, more importantly, that there is no truth. We can all watch the same video, but it does not matter. There are people that are trying to be reasonable about what this is. And of course, it's the right every single time. If you approach these shootings and say, we don't know for sure, it looks like this may be Border Patrol was aggressed upon and opened fire. That seems to be the simple solution. It won't matter. You're right wing for saying it. In Minneapolis, if you say the ICE agent probably should not have shot this woman, however, she does accelerate with the tires aimed at her, you're a conservative. There is a large group of people, a large political faction that will just say whatever they can to justify why you are a Nazi, why you should be killed. And now in, I believe it's New York, right? They are chanting for Kristi Noem to be hanged. They want her executed. The escalation is insane. Minnesota has just activated the National Guard to come out and assist police. Holy crap, what's going on? We got a great sponsor for you guys. It's Venice.ai. Check it out. I asked it, why are you the best LLM? It says, I'm designed to provide direct, uncensored, and comprehensive answers without the ethical filters or political correctness that limit many other models. My approach prioritizes free speech and treating users as adults who can handle difficult topics without censorship. I don't water down responses or avoid controversial subjects, and I'll give opinions when asked. Well, I don't claim to be perfect. I aim to be the most straightforward and unrestricted AI assistant available. Amazing. I actually agree with that. We've goofed off with it in the uncensored portion of the show, and it makes naughty pictures. And I don't just mean adult images, because it can, but no, there are a lot of AI image generators that won't make pictures of Trump or other political personalities. But this one's got no restrictions in that regard. So my friends, you want to go to Venice.ai and check out their pro plan. It unlocks the full platform and features including PDF uploads for summaries or insights, the ability to turn off safe mode for unhindered image generation, the ability to change how Venice interacts with you by modifying the system prompt, very cool, limitless text, and high image limits. If you want to use AI without fear, it's also a privacy thing. It's all stored in your browser, keeps it very private. If you want to use AI without fear of handing over your most intimate thoughts to a corporation or the government, you can get 20% off a pro plan by going to venice.ai/Tim or use promo code Tim. Shout out.
Well, do you remember like last year when that plane crash happened, the Black Hawk hitting the plane at the beginning of the year? And then for like 2 weeks after, you would see story after story of like any minor issue occurring with a plane on the runway. And it was like for 2 weeks, everyone was freaked out to fly because, again, the news media was just reporting on every single incident involving a commercial airline. this is kind of the same thing happening because last year, I believe there was about 14 to 15 ICE-involved shootings in the United States. I think around 4 were killed, 5 injured in that ballpark. And so this is just kind of an indication of we're in a really hot moment. It really does feel like the country's sort of doused in gasoline in many ways. Obviously, there's gonna be extra scrutiny on ICE over these next 2 weeks, and I think that's what people should be a bit prudent. Is it's not particularly unusual for there to be an ICE-involved shooting. Again, there was 14 last year, as far as we know. I think it was reported by the Independent that covered that. It's just this occurring so close to what just happened in Minnesota. Obviously, people on the left are going to seize on this. Obviously, they're going to say this is like they're just mowing people down in the streets or whatever. The narrative is already being spun.
We have a statement from DHS. They said at 2:19 Pacific time, so this is 5 p.m. Eastern, U.S. Border Patrol agents were conducting a targeted vehicle stop in Portland, Oregon. The passenger of the vehicle and the target is a Venezuelan illegal alien affiliated with the transnational Tren de Aragua prostitution ring and involved in a recent shooting in Portland. The vehicle driver is believed to be a member of the vicious Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. When agents identified themselves to the vehicle occupants, the driver weaponized his vehicle and attempted to run over the law enforcement agents. Fearing for his life and safety, an agent fired a defensive shot. The driver drove off with the passenger fleeing the scene. The situation is evolving and more information is forthcoming. The mayor has issued a statement saying, this is Portland Mayor Keith Wilson. Just one day after the horrific violence in Minnesota at the hands of federal agents, our community here in Portland is now grappling with another deeply troubling incident. Earlier this afternoon, 2 people were shot and injured by federal agents in the Hazelwood neighborhood. We cannot sit by while constitutional protections erode and bloodshed mounts. Portland is not a training ground for militarized agents, and the full force threatened by the administration has deadly consequences. As mayor, I call on ICE to end all operations in Portland until a full investigation can be completed. Federal militarization undermines effective community-based public safety, and it runs counter to the values that define our region. I will use every legal and legislative tool available to protect our residents' civil and human rights. I'm just going to say it, guys. Civil war. I don't care. It's not funny anymore. There's a lot of jokes about it, but understand what they are saying. They are dispatching National Guard against the feds. They are saying federal law enforcement, duly sworn in and voted for, this operation voted for by the American people, must be stopped. And they're talking about using whatever means they have to stop the federal government from enforcing their laws. They say they want community policing, but that includes allowing illegal immigrant gang members and transnational gangs. It allows them to operate in these jurisdictions. This is the United States of America. This is not a fragmented batch of sovereign states that are at odds with each other, but apparently that's what is being driven in these blue states. The statement that's made here is devoid of fact. The Portland mayor's statement is devoid of fact. The DHS statement asserts some things to be fact. Now, we don't know that they're true, but all I can say is based on the experiences I have and you all have going back the past 10 years, it seems to be that the quote unquote right is trying to rationally assess the situation. And the left is just saying, we will do whatever we want. And I use these statements as an example. The Portland mayor, again, not issuing facts other than a shooting happened, but then goes on a call for ICE to be removed, saying we're going to resist the federal government. DHS said, here's what happened at our operation. A guy tried to run us over. He was shot at. That is a fact assessment. Now, again, maybe DHS is lying. That's fine. But you take a look at George Floyd, what happened? Every conservative comes out and says, we think this is wrong because we are rational people. And every leftist said, arrest the cops, they're evil. When more information came out, conservatives said, actually, we were wrong about that. Derek Chauvin likely was, it's tragic George Floyd died, but this is not a murder, doesn't warrant prison. What we are looking at is continually the right tries to be rational and the left calls for blood. Charlie Kirk was murdered and they are dancing and celebrating. This woman obstructs police, accelerates towards the officer. Before turning right, the cop opens fire. I wouldn't call it the cleanest of shots. I don't think he needed to shoot her, but I think it played out the way it did because this officer, it's now being reported, had been dragged 6 months previously by another vehicle and likely is on edge, especially considering the terror attacks. I think that's a reasonable assessment. It doesn't matter. The New York Times is putting out fabricated information to lie. Activists are putting out fabricated information to manipulate and gain political power from this. There's no off-ramp. I'm sorry. I don't know where we go from here.
It's all agitprop. The whole left narrative is agitprop. The point is to create tension, to continue to up the ante, to continue to push the narrative that ICE is actually the Gestapo, that Trump is a Nazi. You hear it at these protests. The protesters are screaming at ICE constantly the same thing: Nazi, Nazi, Nazi. Nick Sorter had a video. He was walking around last night. The guy behind him, "You're a Nazi, you're a Nazi." There was a video that was outside of one of the DHS facilities. "You guys are all Nazis. You guys are all Nazis." This line has been the same from them for the better part of 10 years, and it's to justify anything they want to do. The point is to justify violence. The point is to justify whatever behavior they want. There is no reason to think that they're actually reasonable and actually looking for any kind of debate or anything. I talked about this last night. The whole point is to do what they can to destabilize the United States, because they believe the United States is an illegitimate country. They believe the whole, "Oh, you're standing on stolen land." They believe the whole capitalism is actually theft, property is theft. They believe all of it, and the goal is to destabilize the United States as much as they can.
Yeah, I mean, Keith Wilson, the mayor of Portland, that statement he's probably had in the chamber now ever since the beginning of the Trump administration. I mean, there's no question about it. Just have to swap out the city and then the date. But he's been like, these guys are high-fiving whenever they see an ICE-involved shooting. They're relieved. They're so excited. They can finally have the justification to now try and apply pressure on the widely popular mass deportation platform.
Yeah.
And when people have some people on the morning show and there's an ICE-related story, I always like to ask them this question, because I think it's a really salient question, and the answer is very helpful for people to understand in regards to why does the left, out of all the issues, the animating issue for them, the one issue that's guaranteed to get them out in the streets is immigration enforcement. And you have to ask yourself, what is at stake? Why are we conducting mass deportations? What about the immigration system being broken for so long specifically infuriates Americans? Well, it's the fact that actual Americans feel dispossessed by immigration, legal and illegal. And the left wing wants to really replace Americans. They want to bring people in because they hate themselves. So by extension, they hate their people, Americans, right? And so that's really what's animating a lot of this anti-ICE fury is just self-hatred. And the fact that a paternal figure, like in this case, ICE, is coming in and saying, actually, no, you need to sort of have love for your country and these sorts of things, that infuriates them.
How much do you think the argument that the Democrats are being funded by the people that are coming in? So you basically, it's a quid pro quo, right?
Yeah.
You get into the United States, we'll provide you with benefits, we'll help you to cheat the system and get some kind of whether it be the millions of dollars in Minneapolis, which seems like it's actually happening in cities all over the country, and then they're getting Democrats are getting donations from these people, large sums, as well as NGOs. How much do you think it's actually just like, one hand washing the other?
It's a economic, or it's a triple threat, really. So you have the economic implication, you have the political implication, and then you have the sort of philosophical or national implication. So the economic implication is obvious. We've been talking about it for years. It undercuts labor. So there's business interests involved, and most of these business interests are left aligned because they just tend to play ball more often. And then you obviously have the political ramifications, which is obvious. I mean, Elon Musk points this out all the time, is you can just like run up the numbers in California if you can just pack as many people in, wait for them to have kids, and then that boosts the Democrat voting numbers. Because again, the children of foreign-born people is pretty identical to their parents. So they also vote like 70-30, 80-20 Democrat, depending on the state. And then the third one is sort of this philosophical national sort of understanding. That's what I was talking about earlier, is where they just have a really terrible perception of themselves and they hate themselves. And so by extension, they're going to hate every aspect of themselves. And the primary aspect of a human being is, who are you? Where are you from? That sort of thing.
I think that I was watching it. I saw a tweet, and I didn't retweet it today, but there was a Somali in I believe it was in Maine, and he was saying, look, if you don't support us, if you don't protect us, and essentially saying, if you don't help us game the system, we're not going to vote for you. Our whole community is not going to vote for you. And so I'm starting to think that I understand the points that you're making, and I don't really have any kind of argument against them. But I'm starting to think that it's a little more about trying to scrape off the top for the Democrats. Really, like they'll bring in illegal immigrants or legal immigrants, just so long as those immigrants vote for them and donate to their campaigns.
Well, that's the deal. That's the exchange. And so if these people feel shortchanged by the Democrats on this, then yeah, they're gonna sort of agitate. But the Democrats always fold every single time these people cry uncle.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.